Well, we'll call the special Troy City Council meeting to order, March 4th, 2024, and I'll ask for the roll call from Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Councilmember Chamberlain-Craig?
Here.
Councilmember Chanda?
Here.
Councilmember Gunn?
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Here.
All present this evening. First up is public comment. I don't see anyone here to speak on public comment, so move on to business stated in the special meeting notice. We have one item this evening. D1 is City Council orientation, which is part 2 of our series. I will turn it over to City Manager Miller to get us started.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we'll just jump right into it. I believe we're starting with recreation. And Nikki McEachran is up to make the presentation, our Assistant Director of Recreation.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi. Thank you for having me. We're going to talk a little bit about the Recreation Department today. I have been with the city for almost 7 years in a couple different roles, so I'm really glad to be able to speak with you all. We're going to speak a little bit about what our mission is, about our team, what facilities we oversee, then we're going to get into what programs and services we offer, and then our partners. So this is our mission. I'm not going to read it to you, but the bottom line is what we do is to improve quality of life for the city of Troy. That's really what we're here for. We want to make sure we're offering services and programs and amenities that make people want to live here and to thrive here right in Troy. A little bit about our team. It's growing. Last week we added our 13th full-time staff member, Owen, to join our aquatics team. When I got here in 2017, we were only 5 full-timers. Now we're 13. So there's been a lot of change in the last 7 years with our team. But we've got 2 executive members, myself and Brian, 2 marketing staff, 3 aquatics now, 4 programmers, and 2 clerical that help run the ship at Rec Department. We have a lot of part-time staff, 150 to 200 depending on the time of year. This fluctuates based on what programs are going on, what facilities are open. Right now is our big hiring spree, so if you know anyone, college students, high school students that are going to be looking for a summer job, let us know. We are great first-time employers. And then one little note here, we're the only department that does our own in-house hiring from start to finish, and this is for our part-time team. This is because we are constantly hiring over at the rec department, just the nature of what we do, so it helps us be a little bit more nimble and get through all the hires that we have to build our team out in the summer. It's a really busy time in the spring for us to hire. We're going to talk about our facilities. So the Troy Community Center is our primary facility space. This is where our offices are held, where I go to work every single day. It's 127,000 square feet. It really is a premier recreation facility in the state of Michigan. We're constantly being asked to give tours by other municipalities looking to build community centers. So it really is a beautiful facility. I came from a community that didn't have a community center, so this is a really big benefit for our community to have this space to do programs. Within this space, we've got our fitness center, which I'll talk more about later. We do banquet and meeting rentals. We also operate as a warming center when there's really bad weather events. We have a really amazing art room. It's my personal favorite room in the building. If you haven't been in there, we do have a kiln where we're able to fire pottery and ceramic pieces. We lease a space to DMC Physical Therapy for running a PT clinic on site. And Meals on Wheels actually operates out of our kitchen to serve several communities in the area. If you didn't know that, they cook a lot of meals out of that kitchen that don't just serve just Troy, but several surrounding communities and senior centers. And then of course our offices. I did include a slide here on open gym recreation. We get a lot of questions from the community about what hours are available for different sports. So I just wanted to give this information to you all in case you hear about it too. Pickleball is our biggest sport in terms of just your hours in our gym. Honestly, if we had 10 more basketball court, gymnasiums to fill programming, we would use it. It is that high in demand with all the programs that we run. And then of course, badminton, basketball, volleyball. Also within this space, we are running lots of different sports leagues. I'll talk more about our leagues later. We also have this space available in the summertime when we're running our summer camps. They come in for a few hours every day to, get their wiggles out, run around. Coach Dave has a really cool program for toddlers to get exposed to sports for the first time. Our adaptive programs I'll talk more about later, but they use this space as well, and then of course special events. But this is one of our most important resources that we have. I just really want to emphasize. The Aquatic Center outdoor pool. So our outdoor aquatic center, TFAC as we love to call it, is very high in demand in the summertime. I did write down a couple notes about our memberships. We had last season 28,000 visitors at the outdoor pool. If you haven't been to TFAC, and you want a tour this summer, please come by, let us know. It's a much more exciting place in the summertime than it is right now. But it's a really amazing facility and it is used. We have a kiddie area, we have waterfall, we have multiple slides, sand volleyball, there's a play structure. Swim lessons, we operate swim lessons indoors and outdoors, but that's a big program we run in the mornings typically on weekdays there. Our summer camps visit the outdoor pool as much as they can, which is a big draw for our camps because they get to go to the pool. We actually have other summer camps in the Metro Detroit area visit our pool because it's so awesome. And then we also operate concessions. In terms of members, last summer we had 1,455 season memberships. We just underwent a big project with a consultant. Global Management Amusement Professionals came and they are doing research on our practices, and they're going to be providing a report that will come to council in either late March or April to give you some information about their recommendations for TFAC. So stay tuned for that. And then our indoor pool. So our indoor pool is a really great amenity for families as well as, recreational lap swimmers to use throughout the winter when TFAC is not available. We operated 616 swim lessons out of our indoor pool, just indoor last year. So swim lessons are incredibly high demand service that we run. It really is a service because it teaches our kids life-saving skills. We sell out our swim lessons minutes from when they're open. We just cannot fill the demand for swim lessons if you hadn't heard that before, and that's in combination with just the number of hours available in the pool and the number of swim instructors that we have certified to teach. So swim lessons are a big, big deal for us. Let's see. The ice rink is coming soon. We are going to be operating the ice rink. It's going to have open ice skating. It's going to have concessions, skate rentals. The skates are here. And we have plans to offer some rollerblading and roller skating programming as well in the off season, plus some really awesome special events. It's got really great potential for those as well. So we're really excited about the ice rink. Now we're going to get a little bit into our programs and services. So we offer a huge range of programs and services that you're going to hear about in a minute. Last year we had 15,000 registrations for memberships. Now that's just registrations, so that doesn't include programs that are drop-in or just people visiting our facility. Because our facility is a public space, we have a lot of people that just come in to play chess or dominoes or cards just in our lobby, and we love encouraging that as well because that's an open space for people to use and it's free. So preschool and youth, we have tons of preschool youth programs, but one of our biggest ones that keep us planning all year round, it really is a year-round process, is summer camps. And we have a huge range of camps, but our biggest one is day camps. This is the one that we hire all of our counselors for, our leaders for. We have a new counselor and training program starting for kids that have aged out of camp. They can sign up to learn to become a counselor. So this is something that lots of other municipalities offer, and we're so excited to be able to run our own CIT program at Troy. Snapology is like a STEM camp. Fame Camp is for aspiring actors and actresses. And Safety Town is really cool. They get to learn about our police and fire department, bike riding, road safety, and then of course preschool camps. Now, if you didn't know, we actually operate a state licensed preschool. So what this means is we have very high standards for our preschool. It's for 3 and 4-year-olds, and we have 2 classrooms, and we're certified for up to 60 kids. So all of this, I want you all to take away is we're providing a very important child care service to the community. It's not just camp, it's child care for people that really need it, working parents. Parent and Top programs is when, the parents get to come along and it's first time socialization with other kids to get them ready for preschool. Premier Plus Dance, that's a dance program for all ages, really starts at like age 4 and goes up to teens. And they have a big recital at the end. And Busy Boxes was a craft program where they could take home crafts that started during COVID, and it's still going because people keep wanting them. It's amazing. Parents can pick it up and keep their kids busy at home with really cool crafts that we put together for them. So that's our youth programming. Adaptive. Adaptive programming is our programs that are for adults with disabilities. So when folks age out of the school district program, there's really not a lot out there for things for them to do. So this program is incredibly high demand. We don't have enough spots to run it. It fills up every time with a wait list. It is a really amazing program. They get to come and be with their peers and do cool things all throughout the year. It runs year round. Then we have a ton of other programs that we offer as well, but our daytime program is kind of our biggest one. It's what we call our Friendship Club, Troy Friendship Club, if you've heard of that. They go on field trips. It's a really great program. Then our senior programs. So I started out as a senior programmer at Troy. This was my first position here. So we have a wide variety. I gave everyone a copy of our 50 Forward. This covers our senior program offerings. And I've just highlighted a few. This definitely doesn't cover everything that we do. But right now we have our AARP tax services running. This is a free service for people to come and get their tax return prepared. There's volunteers. We're one of the largest sites in the area. I want to say we do something like 800 appointments every year. It's a really big deal, and it keeps us very busy in tax season. And then we also offer Medicare counseling. That's a really also really important service that we run for seniors, where they can get advice on all those very tricky, cumbersome forms that seniors have to fill out to qualify for Medicare. Computer Lab, we offer a computer lab program that has drop-in lab and then lots of great classes that they can take to learn a variety of computer skills. And then lots of other things, art, dance, Focus Hub food boxes. This is for food insecure seniors to come get pantry items to get them through the month if they're experiencing food insecurity and don't have enough food on the table. Birthday lunches is just a really great social event we run in partnership with our Meals on Wheels staff. Groups and clubs. So really there's something for everybody. There's 13 different groups with 231 participants that do all kinds of different activities at the center. And We are also working on a grant right now. We received a $250,000 grant from Oakland County Senior Center Matching Grant to renovate room 402. That's what people call the cafeteria room, the big round room in the community center. It's going to renovate that space, make it more welcoming, and have some really cool kind of loungy type setup for seniors to come and hang out and have coffee and socialize, as well as have some new programming in that space. It's also going to have some renovations for the outdoor shuffleboard and bocce court, which we have lots of seniors use as well. So there's going to be a senior activity report, an update coming to council, I believe on April 8th. So stay tuned for that. You'll get more info on our senior programs. All right, so our fitness center. So this is what I oversee now in my role. If you haven't come to see our fitness center, and I'll invite you at the end too, just come and see us if you haven't seen us in a while. Lots changed in the last few years with our building, but the fitness center is my favorite because I get to work on it all the time. So we last year had 144,000 visits in our fitness center. So it is a very busy place that averages out to like 400 people a day come to our fitness center. This is just swipe-ins and day passes purchased at the desk there. We have classes. We have like 40 different fitness classes running each week. And we have personal trainers. And of course the open gym we spoke about earlier. People can be members or they can just drop in for a day pass. Right now we have about 2,500 members. Sports leagues, we spoke a little bit about our gym, but this is some of the activity that is happening in our gym. We've got a huge variety of sports leagues. New right now is kickball is happening, but we've got, you know, your 50-plus golf league. We've got basketball, youth and adult. There's Learn to Skate, that's actually Learn to Ice Skate in partnership with the Troy Ice Arena, martial arts programming, and of course pickleball. We also partner with the schools to run leagues at schools as well. And then sports camps. So there's regular day camps, but if there's children that have interest in specific sports, there's probably 30 different sports. There's something for anybody's specific interest to send in for a sports league. And then special events, we had over 40 events in 2023, wide variety. I've listed some of them here. There's always something new going on at Troy Rec with special events. We actually started working more closely with the library and the Historic Village, and the Nature Center to partner at our events, come to each other's events, have tables, and try not to conflict with each other, and also cross-promote. And then programming in the parks. So DPW has our parks and facilities staff that are responsible for making sure our parks look awesome and are maintained. We do the programming and services in the parks. So this is shelter reservations. We had almost 400 shelter reservations last year. We also are responsible for scheduling the fields. So when other sports providers want to use our fields, they're working with rec staff to get those fields reserved. And then these are some of our big partners. We partner with a lot of other people that aren't on this slide to do our programs, but these are the big ones. Troon operates our Sanctuary Lake and Sylvan Glen golf courses. Of course, you know the Troy Historical Society and the Troy Nature Society. And then the Troy Racquet Club operates the tennis facility. We're also responsible for overseeing the operational contract for Camp Ticonderoga restaurant as well. So those are some of our big partners. So please connect with us. We have a really great marketing team. You got a little bit of some of the promotional items that we have, our recreation guide and our 50 Ford. But there's a lot of other publications that they work on throughout the year, and then of course social media. And if you want a tour, please come and see us anytime. We'd be happy to show you around. Are there any questions?
Hey, hold on, Mark, a second. Thanks, Nikki. There are a couple questions. I'm gonna say, I'm looking forward to the report on senior services. I think April 8th, you said. I know that's on all of our minds and something we are constantly wondering about. So before we bombard her with questions about that, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's wait for the report on April 8th. Seems fair. This is an informational, not a, no, I'm kidding. So I just wanted to get that out first and then we'll do the questions. So go ahead, Mark.
Well, a couple questions. One, we were challenged at a city council meeting about not enough pickleball locations. I mean, is there any thought, any ideas coming up for more?
So I believe that comment was geared towards outdoor pickleball courts, if I'm not mistaken. So I would not be the best person to ask about outdoor courts. I might defer to Kurt on that one.
Okay.
As far as indoor activity, you know, we really do the max with programming that gym space as much as we can. We use every single hour as best as possible. We count. We have cameras in the building and we're counting who's here when, and we adjust the schedule based on attendance and of course the weather, because in the summertime most of our pickleball players go outside. So I'm not sure, Kurt, if you want to answer a little bit about the pickleball courts outdoors.
Sure, thanks, Vicki. So when we look at expanding the parks and the amenities in parks, it's a budgetary item, so it does compete with a lot of other things, and I think you'll see coming up in the budget that it is still competing for some higher needs. So it's in there, it's been in there for quite some time, the addition of tennis and pickleball courts, but it continues to compete with other needs of the city. We are continuing to work with League Sports. They were the ones who wanted to develop Site 11, and we're looking at Flint Park. Doing that, and there is some motivation to, you know, in the off season of baseball, to convert those turf fields into potentially pickleball or something that looks similar to a court that could be used.
I have one more question. You mentioned something, I think it was around 1,100, 1,200 memberships for the pool. Is that right? Pretty close to that?
14.
So for our outdoor pool,
Yeah.
last year we had about rounding up to 1,500.
Has that been like an increase over the last several years that you've been here?
You know, we had a really good year, I think the year before, but I don't have those numbers in front of me, so I don't want to.
You guys have any marketing plan that you use for the city residents?
Well, we've got our marketing team, and I know that they are going to discuss marketing quite a bit when that consultant report comes to council in April or maybe late March if they get it to you. So our marketing team does marketing for the entire department. I will say that we reached capacity at the outdoor pool several good weather days. So, you know, if that's any indication, you know, it does max out and we have to turn people away.
Good.
Councilmember Chamberlain-Carter?
Thank you, Mayor. So to follow on that, those memberships, the split between residents and non-residents, is it the same, similar to prior years, or have you seen any difference in that?
For the outdoor pool,
Outdoor
I don't
pool.
have that information in front of me, I'm
It's okay.
sorry, but I'm sure that will be part of the council report that will be coming to you.
Okay. And with that, just kind of question, comment, maybe it'll address that. Something I've noticed when I go to TFAC in the summer, and maybe that's a capital need, or I don't know if that's across in other departments with recreation. Sometimes there's issues with processing payments. The computers aren't working, or they go offline for a little bit of time, and there's backup. I don't know if there's needs. I don't know, would that be a capital need? Is that something that might be addressed in the report? But I've seen it happen more than once, and just.
It's a great question. I'm not very familiar with that process exactly, but I can definitely make sure it's either in the report or get it to you some other way.
Right. Quick question, because I always forget to ask this. Ski program. You used to have an amazing ski program before COVID. Is that it just ended and we haven't brought it back, or?
Yeah, so that program was a great program. What it was we took kids to the ski mountain to do skiing for the first time. What happened was it was incredibly difficult to find staffing for that program, is my understanding. So that's, because it was such a short season, and it was weekends, Saturdays, and they just really had trouble finding people to apply for that position and work it for the season.
And just a quick little comment, wanted to say, I remember in the fall, I think there was a candidate who made some question about how used is the Troy Community Center. And I have to say, and just as you showed, it is so used. I am there. So today I was there a little after 6, just after the pool opened to do laps. I almost couldn't get a lane. I mean, we were gonna do circle swimming. It was so busy, and this is just after it opened. 6 a.m., you see folks up early doing badminton. I mean, there's so much usage. I mean, I constantly see people in there, so thank you for all that you guys do, the staff there.
Regarding the connectivity between TFAC, I think the problem is that the facility isn't connected to the city's network with fiber, but I think Kurt might be able to tell us more about plans to connect it.
Sure. Yeah, with the pavilion project, we were able to get the fiber from City Hall to the pavilion, and then you'll see in the upcoming budget to get the fiber from the pavilion over to the aquatic center. So that'll not only help with just the point of sale system, but also help with cameras, so dispatch can monitor the cameras in real time.
Councilman Hamilton?
What would you say, like, as a staff, your biggest needs or wants are, and what are we hearing from, I know that we won't talk about the senior part, but what are you hearing from residents, like, their biggest needs, their biggest wants with everything, and from both an operating and capital expense, like, when you talk about, like, the adaptive programs, they can't meet the demand, they fill up immediately, and then you said, what was it, there were other classes that fill up.
Swim lessons.
Yeah, swim lessons fill up almost immediately. What's the bottleneck there? I mean, swim is probably obviously just the facilities, we have a limited amount, but is it just an inability of staffing? Is it funding, or is it just, even if the funding was there, it's just hard to find staffing for these things?
I feel like this is a whole nother workshop orientation question. You know, I think it depends on the resident you're speaking to, and it just depends on the day. I don't know if I can answer this question.
That's fine.
directly. It's a big question.
Yeah, it is.
I get to you in a second, Teresa, but I'm thinking out loud and speaking out loud on camera, which is always dangerous. But I do think, you know, recreation's been an issue, or concerns with recreation's been an issue in the city since COVID especially, but leading to this, and it's not staff specifically, it's just some of the issues that our residents are facing. I'm wondering if it might be appropriate at a certain point to maybe have a separate study session about some of these issues to really drill down, because we do feel a little bit out of the loop, and we hear complaints or we hear feedback, but we don't have an opportunity to kind of interact with staff. And I know at Advance 2 years ago, we had an opportunity to kind of bounce around a table a little bit, but just a thought in everyone's mind if it might be beneficial at some point to have some sort of recreation type study session. Maybe that's in conjunction with some of the senior issues and things like that, but just think about that. Teresa and Jimmy?
Okay, yes, thanks. So 2 things. One, that little room that was next to the art center, the art room that was a shop, what did we do with that room?
I wish I had a picture in here, I
Creative
don't.
endeavors.
Great question. It is now an open drop-in card room for seniors. So it's got lots of games and puzzles, and people are using it for impromptu gatherings to do drop-in recreation, and it's been busy. It is being used. Our staff will go and they'll set up a puzzle and do like a little bit of it, and then people will come and finish the puzzle. So it's getting used in a brand new way right now.
Okay, good, and people are pretty happy, because I know some people were a little upset about the loss of that little shop, but.
Yeah, and I believe there was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe, there was a report that came that had a little more background about it. But if you ever want more background, please let us know and we can provide that.
And then one other thing, I know we're not gonna get into the senior thing, but I just hope that in the report that we get in April, that we talk about kind of the changes of pre-COVID versus post-COVID, because I know a lot of people talk about the drop-off maybe in the senior services, so I don't fully have the scope of, you know, what it was like maybe pre versus post. Just talking about that a little bit more.
that would be helpful.
Yeah.
I think we all would agree with that. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you for the presentation. And just to back up the conversation on pickleball a little bit and knowing what a challenge that is, we first talked about pickleball in a budget study session, I think like 9 years ago. And at the time, people around the table were like, what's pickleball? So it has long been in the discussion sphere. Its popularity took off faster than our budget process has allowed. So that, I do know, we hear about that all the time. Maybe that's part of the seniors discussion, but I don't think that's just a senior issue. And you have young people coming into that, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, all ages now. We set it up for our, we have a family night out program about once a month or so, and we started setting up pickleball nets at family night out, and families play, and it's awesome.
So it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned this, like the Troy Racket Club, is that an enterprise model or is that directly controlled by the city?
Go ahead, Lori.
Well, there is a contract, so it's a private entity that's managing it, just like with the golf courses. So we have a contract.
Us old school members are gonna smile because we had a lot of really
We contemplated changing. the
yeah,
contract.
detailed
Is that what you're
meetings
saying?
on that, so we're very familiar with that, and it was a huge discussion, a lot of people packed council chambers for that, but yeah,
And when that happened, the proprietors or the operators did some improvements. They put new lights in, I think a new bubble, and I think new HVAC too.
so,
They've done a lot of work in there. Their whole lobby is different now, I think. And they actually also want to expand. They just need to find the land, the money to do it. But that's another one of they're at capacity, and they could really benefit from another, even 8 courts. So,
And they have pickleball.
and they also offer.
On tennis courts or separate?
On tennis courts for
You
now.
have to take them yourself, but they get business.
People do it, yeah, they're busy with that too. I don't know how long the library portion is, so we're kind of at halfway. I don't want to keep you. I just want to say, I happened to be at an event Saturday night, and a woman came to me from Bloomfield Township and said, I wanted to play pickleball, and I couldn't play anywhere in Bloomfield, but I went to the Troy Community Center, and I had to pay extra because I don't live in Troy, but it was worth it because it was a wonderful facility and it was really well done. So I just heard that the other night. I thought, well, that was good to hear. I said, would you pay a little bit more? No, I'm and yeah, I guess that's it. But thank you, Nikki. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Library time?
Get your reading glasses.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. So tonight, we're going to break up our presentation. I'm Emily Dumas, I'm the library director. I'm going to start it out. I'm going to give you a little bit of general information about the library. I'm going to share our history and then discuss our finances. And then I'm going to turn it over to my assistant director, Philip Quick, and he is going to share the services and where we're going. So just to get started, I wanted to share our vision statement. This was something that was created with staff input a number of years ago, but with our current strategic plan, we decided that it still holds up and we still wanted to keep it. So our vision is a vibrant and nurturing place that inspires and cultivates learning, diversity, collaboration, and enjoyment. And then we came up with 4 main values to guide us. So those are innovation, learning, community focus, and inclusion. Now this describes how our staff is structured. So we currently have 25 full-timers, we have 44 part-timers, and we have 20 substitutes on staff. And one thing I wanted to note was that we have a large number of separate departments, and that's something pretty unique for libraries too. what you'll find is most libraries, they put things like, let's say, community engagement or digital services or technical services under one of the larger umbrellas of maybe adult services or youth services or circulation. I think one of the benefits of us having such a large staff is that we are able to separate those out. And what it does is it really creates specialized departments. They can really work on what their department specializes in, make that their sole focus, and I think that's something that makes Troy Library stand out with its services, is a reflection of this. So the history of the library really started in the late 1950s, and what you'll see is that it seemed like the library was always in response to the growing of the community. So in 1959, as the city was starting to become an established community, the population was growing, the city commission appointed a 10-person committee to investigate establishing a city library as demand for it was growing. And then in 1962, the Friends of the Library campaigned. They raised a lot of money, and they were able to establish the first official Troy Public Library. Now this was just 2 rooms within the old Troy High School. It had a collection of 1,000 books, and that served a population of 20,000 residents. And then in the next 10 years, the population doubled. So in 1970, they decided that they really needed to think about a larger expansion and creating its own library building. So and also too, the collection was outgrowing its small space in the school. So the city commission, they voted to construct a permanent library building, and they did that by funding it with 30-year bonds. 1971, the building where it currently stands opened its doors for the first time. And what it looked like at first was just what is now the south wing of the library. So the youth services department, and then the back areas that are kind of closed off to the public that have staff offices and some of our non-public departments. And then in the 1980s, the population continued to grow. So it grew by another almost 30,000 people. At that time, the library was attracting, it says, 46,000 patrons a year. They're circulating over 500,000 items. So the need to grow was recognized again. So in 1982, the Friends of the Library went to work, and they started petitioning the city council to fund an expansion. In 1984, that expansion was opened, and that is now the north wing of the library. So that houses the current circulation area, the lobby, the adult services department, and then some of the back staff offices and some of the other departments within the adult room. That brings our total building footprint to 50,000 square feet. One thing I'd like to note is that since then we've grown to 90,000 residents in Troy, and that was the last expansion or major renovation we've had. We also now welcome about 350,000 people in yearly, and we circulate close to 1 million items. So our history in the 1990s through the early 2000s was when we were really settling into the building, the public and the staff both. And something to recognize is that Troy's really always been on the cutting edge with services. So they were on top of the internet when it first became a reality. They were, one of the first libraries to offer free internet access to patrons. Also too, they recognized the need to honor our teen patrons, so they opened a teen resource center in 2003 when a lot of libraries didn't really want teens in the library. They have been consistently ranked as a top library in Michigan. We've been awarded citations of excellence a couple of times through the Library of Michigan, both for the library in general and for our teen services. And we've started collections like our special needs collection, which is now called our Universal Access Collection. Things like the information literacy for the job seeker program. And again, these were major innovations for a public library. We also, looking forward to the future too, we started an endowment fund in the year 2016, and that's helped fund some of our larger purchases. Philip's going to talk a little bit more when it gets to his portion. He's going to tell you more about our services and how we continue to try to stay on the cutting edge of library services. One highlight that I wanted to pull out was the Letters to the Children of Troy. So if you visit the library, the hallway that connects the north and the south wing, you'll see along the walls we have a beautiful display. And this is really a gem of our library. It's something so unique. So in 1971, when they did want to establish a library building, the children's librarian at the time, Marguerite Hart, She took it upon herself to write 100 letters to notable figures at the time. So these were actors, politicians, writers, and she got 97 responses. And what's nice is, I think a sign of the time, a lot of them were handwritten or really personal, and you could tell, I think, that the people really were writing them themselves. We got a picture from Dr. Seuss that he drew. Some of the other notable people were Pat Nixon, Spiro Agnew, we have Ronald Reagan, Vincent Price. Something really cool was a couple of years ago, the actress Sarah Jessica Parker, she shared one of the pictures of the letters on her Instagram. We have no idea how she got it. She didn't tag us. We all tagged ourselves. But it shows that it's kind of far-reaching and pretty famous too. So yeah, we have all of those letters saved, and we were able to make this display from it. And it's really nice. It's a snapshot of the 1970s, and I think a pretty innocent time. So I wanted to discuss how the library is funded too. So something to note is that we are a department that is completely independently funded by our own dedicated millage. It wasn't always that way. Prior to 2011, we were actually part of the city's budget. So the library and the city went through some tough times prior to 2011. It became necessary for the library to get its own dedicated millage. So in 2011, the voters approved a 5-year millage for 0.7 mils. That was renewed in 2015. And we were really struggling along with that. That simply wasn't enough. We had to drastically cut services, cut staff. We were no longer open 7 days a week. And that was quite a long time that the library functioned like that. So a big victory came in November of 2020 when the voters approved a 10-year millage for 1.1 mils. And you can see, if you look at the post-millage election operational budget, just how much that's helped us out. We were able to hire the staff that we needed, create the departments that we needed, and be open 7 days a week. We were able to take care of a lot of the necessary building repairs that had just been sitting there waiting until we had the funding to do so, and we've been able to increase our services. To show you, to highlight the capital budget, so since we've got our millage, we've spent a little over $3 million, and the bulk of that has gone to what I would call Band-Aid fixes. So $2.4 million have gone to building repairs. So our HVAC system repairs, the window updates, the roof, we had to do a roof replacement, security system, elevator maintenance and repairs, and a loading dock repairs, and that's not all of it. And then $600,000 has gone to public amenities and staff offices. To give you a visual for our revenue and expenses, so this is the current year. The majority of our revenue does come from our property taxes and what we levy through our millage. And then relatively much smaller revenue that we collect is penal fines, which are allocated through the county. We have some state grants and mini grants, private contributions, which are just donations from our patrons, and then other, which would include things like lost item fees or copier fees. Our expenses, our major expenses, wages and benefits, then operational charges just to run the day-to-day of the library. Our collections account for $630,000. Supplies are about $32,000, and then other expenses are about $29,000. And then our capital budget for this year, we have set at $650,000. I am going to turn it over to Philip now. He is going to cover our services.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be here. I just wanted to mention before I get into this, I just wanted to go back to the letters to the children of Troy for just 1 second. I have two favorites. One is a typed postcard, and I don't know how many people here remember typewriters, and postcards for that matter. But it's a typed postcard from Isaac Asimov, who's one of the founders of American science fiction, where he made errors like we all used to when we typed, and he went back and he X'd over them with his typewriter and continued on. And the other is a 2-page letter from Neil Armstrong, and it's about 18 months after he landed on the moon. And he became not quite a recluse, but he became fairly introverted once he came back from the moon. But he did have an administration, a position with NASA for several years. And so the letter signed on NASA stationery, it's from him. It's invaluable, it really is. There's no way to actually get any kind of price on that, and it's addressed to the children of Troy. So they're quite remarkable things. Getting back to the future, or to the present though, Emily talked to you about our budget and where our money comes from and how it comes, and you have the right to ask, what do people in Troy get for their budget, get for their money, I should say, for their tax money? Well, we think they get a lot. And one of the things that they get is they get a library that goes out to them wherever they're at. We don't make them come into the building. We go out to where they're at and we engage the community. A lot of libraries in a lot of areas talk about community engagement, and we think we really do it. We are, does that have a pointer? No, it doesn't. One of the things that we're especially proud of that we're getting this year is our bookmobile. This is not a delivery van, but an actual bookmobile that people will be able to drive into neighborhoods. People will be able to board it. There'll be books that they'll be able to check out. They'll be able to get library cards. It's got a tent, so they'll be able to put up our awning, and they'll have programs during the summer. Well over 80% funded by private contributions, which we're quite pleased of, and we're going to take delivery of it this summer, and it's essentially going to be a mobile billboard for the library and for the city of Troy. We do a lot with seniors and homebound. Homebound doesn't just mean people of age. It means people who might be injured for a particular reason, might mean people who have transportation challenges, might mean people who have temporarily home family responsibilities. We have librarians who work with homebound people. They provide books that they actually want to read. We don't just bring books over and have them pick. We actually work with them. We have several book clubs and large type book collections at some of the senior centers in the city. Not the senior centers, but the senior apartments, the high-rise apartments, which I've forgotten right now. Anyway, we do a lot with schools and business partnerships. We have just finalized a program where we have given a digital library card to every school child in the city of Troy. For years and years we tried to do this, and the school board would only allow an opt-in program, which was hard to do, and we had to do it school by school, and it was really fairly miserable. We finally got them to agree to an opt-out program, so we're in the process of making 13,000 digital cards for Troy children, and we're going to really level that playing field for all the children in Troy to have all the resources to the library. Oops, I clicked that, didn't I? Library access. We take our services to the Troy Continuing Education. Twice a month, we meet with the business community inside the library. The Chamber Business Development Group made a ton of contacts with that. We've really expanded our business scope. And then we partner with several community organizations like the Community Center and Michigan Works and the Rotary Club and the Troy Women's Association and many others. And finally, as you probably know in terms of engaging the community, 1 in 3 Troy residents speak a language other than English in Troy at home. Obviously, we have international collections at the library, but we go beyond that. We have a lot of programs where we help people learn English. We have a program called Talk Time, and if you ever want to see the future of Troy, I suggest you show up on Friday morning or Saturday morning and see 30 or 40 or 50 people in our meeting room all speaking a different language. It's pretty amazing. They're all learning English. We have international language clubs where if you speak English and I speak Urdu and you want to learn Urdu and I want to learn English, we put you together and we help you teach each other. And we have English language learners book clubs out in the community at Digby Coffee. Another way we service the community is by delivering cutting edge technology. This is something I'm particularly proud of. When I first started in Troy in 1998, one of the first projects I worked on was setting up the Technology Center. It's our room where we have all of our computers, continues to function, 17 high-speed computers, scanners, printers. Not everybody has a computer in Troy. Not everybody has high-speed internet in Troy. Our usage has gone up 21% this year. Part of that is because we've always had a dedicated staff in that room, and I think that really has made a difference. We have a highly trained technology staff. They work one-on-one, they do a ton of programming, and I think that's really made a difference in terms of use. For those who don't like to be crowded into a room with a bunch of other computers and a bunch of other people, we offer hotspots and Chromebooks so people can, if you don't have internet access at home, if you're going on vacation, you can use a hotspot. If you don't want to work in that room, if you're in a technology room, if you're doing a Zoom meeting, you can take a Chromebook and go to a different part of the library and use it. We offer a memory lab where you can convert your old formats to new formats, to digital formats. It's very popular. If you paid for some of these things, it would cost hundreds of dollars every time you use it. And finally, a big thing in the library is makerspace. Makerspace are places where people get together and share knowledge, but they also share equipment, and they also work on things, and they also have sort of a creative space. We unfortunately don't have space to put it, but inside the building, but we do offer makerspace kits where people can sort of take home. The simplest version is like a crocheting circle where people can learn to crochet and insert a sewing machine, all the way up to sewing machines and printers and all kinds of things. We only have the ability to limit the number of types of kits that we sell. And finally, I think one of the big services that distinguish us is that we offer a lot of programming beyond books and materials. We offer a lot of things. No matter what you're interested in, we have a program for you. And I want to stress that we continue to evaluate and adopt those programs because of some staffing issues and some space issues and some building repairs. We had to reduce our program this year by 9%, but we still increased attendance by 19%, which leads me to believe that we offer good product and we know what our community wants. I'm particularly impressed, and have been for 20 years, on the teams in Troy. We have almost, I guess, probably 20-year-old, well, it says 10-year-old, so 10-year-old teen advisory board that has 40 members. They meet weekly, bi-weekly, I think. They plan programs, they do programs for middle school children. They're just an amazing group of children, young people, I should say. And they go, and every year they sort of regenerate themselves, and they take leadership, they get training, and it's amazing programs. We're also trying to involve tweens now, those sort of slightly younger children. After you get out of elementary school, where you go, and you're trying to involve them more in library programming. Of course, our youth area is crazy with children and people running around. We had, as you know, 3,000 people at our summer library program and 1,200 children participating in the program throughout the summer. We do over 400 programs a year, 1,500 participants. That's 36 programs a month, which means a program in 2/3 a day. I mean, it's a lot of programming, and they're full. And then, of course, we do a wide range of adult programming, almost in any topic you want, in history and public pottery and practical life skills, senior programs like Medicare fraud, and all kinds of things that you might want to learn. Just a quick thing about statistics. I know there's a lot of numbers here, so I'm not going to go over them all. I just want to point out two things. One is, look at the very first year, which is 2018, 2019, and that's our last big pre-COVID year, our last full pre-COVID year. And then look at these last two columns, 2023 and estimated in 2024, which is projected for next year. And we are right there. We're right where we were pre-COVID. In fact, in terms of our door count, we assume more people will come in the building than before COVID, because people need a place in Troy and they want a place in Troy. As Emily mentioned, we're going to circulate over 1 million items again this year, which is phenomenal to me. 27,000 door attendants, a huge increase in library cards because every child in Troy has one now. Electronic resources are sort of all over the board as those change, but we still service a lot of people. And then I just want you to look at the 2021 column, which is our COVID column. And even during the depth of COVID, we circulated over 600,000 items through curbside pickup and through electronic resources and stuff. So we have a busy library and a library that meets the needs of the public. Social media, we're very aggressive in it. It's hard to talk about it because it's such a segmented market, but we have, 1,500, 2,200, and 5,000 followers on different programs, and we engage, thousands and thousands of people. So about a year ago, just under a year ago, we started talking about a strategic plan for two reasons. One is because we have this new millage, fairly new millage, we have a big influx of money, and we want to make sure that we spend it well for the citizens of Troy, the residents of Troy, so we want to know what they want. And number two, we knew we had some challenges in the building in terms of space, and we anticipated that what people wanted was going to outdo our space. It's not hard to think about that, but we wanted to talk about it, and we wanted to engage the community on it. So we hired Rethinking Libraries, and over the summer we, for a minute. We worked with them on a strategic plan all last year. Over the summer, we engaged 2,700 people through surveys. We had several one-on-one meetings with council members, with leaders in the community, with Friends members, several community meetings. And we hoped for a strategic plan that, like most strategic plans, talk about services and programming and how to best use your staff and how to best use your space and sort of, those things that we've all been through the process. And how to sort of move forward over the next few years. Well, the program that Rethinking Libraries, the plan that Rethinking Libraries came up with, or what their view of the library was something different than what we anticipated from a plan. Their findings really centered on the library facilities. So they determined that the Troy community is passionate about and has strong support for the library, and I think we all know that. We have a lot of people coming through the doors, and a lot of books going out, and a lot of people coming from our programs. They see it as a busy place, and they think it's one of the busiest libraries they've been to post-COVID, and that's in particular because of this concept that Rethinking Library calls as dwell times. People come into the library and they sit there. They do their work there, they study there, they stay there forever. And this has been documented. Every time this library does a space study, this is documented. People in Troy just like to come and hang out in the library. What they also found, though, was that something that we sort of thought was that this facility is significantly undersized for this community the size of Troy at about 0.6 square feet per capita. The national average being 0.8 to 1.2 square feet per capita, and the Detroit Metro Cohort being 0.9 square feet per capita. Now, even in 1984, when the extension was built on the library, it was still only at about 3/4 of the size, 0.75 square feet per person. Now, library services were different there, so you can't quite compare that. But it's a undersized building is their significant finding. The current structure has issues regarding ADA access, security, space allocations, building configuration limits the effectiveness of modest renovations. And that's what we found out when we were doing the youth renovation, that it was so expensive that it didn't justify the fairly modest renovations that we had hoped for. And that the building lacks public features common to most libraries, and this is because we just don't have the space. We like programming space, meeting space, creative maker space, things like that. Staff areas are inadequate. They called our staff space one of the most inadequate staff spaces they've ever seen. Our youth space, I should say. And a lack of space limits the effectiveness of staff. It's taking a toll on morale. Library staff delivers exceptional service, good value, and engaging resources to a community with high expectations. Despite the facility's limitations, nevertheless, these limitations reduce the value residents receive from the library. So our next steps, we have a draft of the strategic plan. We're working with city management to schedule both the presentation where our strategic planners come in so you can hear from them firsthand, and also hopefully some type of discussion. We have some issues that were identified in the advance that I know council has talked about that we'd like to respond to as part of the advance. So I think, we hope that this next few months are productive time for this discussion to move forward.
Awesome. Okay, 7 o'clock. Let me just say first, I think our library is our #1 community gathering space in the city. It's, you can see by the numbers. TFAC's awesome, and the community center. But people go to our library they spend time there. It's a huge microcosm of what our city is, and it's an extremely valuable asset in our city. I was surprised by the Rethinking Library slide at the end, because I feel like, oh wait, I need another couple hours on that. But it sounds like that's gonna come back to us and we can dive into that a little bit more. I just wanna thank Emily and Phil. It's good to see both of you. I feel like before COVID, some of you weren't here before COVID on council, but we had more interplay with the library team, and I felt a little more like, as a council member, I knew what was going on. And it's nice to see you in here and to have this opportunity to kind of share. I look forward to more of that, especially as we move toward the strategic planning. I think it's important for us because it is our #1 community gathering space. We should all be a little more in touch, whatever that means within the realms and the guidelines of what we do. But quick questions, comments, Mark?
I have one comment. I love that letter idea. I think you should open it up and do it again.
I've been thinking about that. How do you think it would play out today? I'm not sure, with people, would it just be the publicist or something sending it?
We actually tried that, and that was a lot of it. We received a few letters from sort of contemporary children's authors, but it was very difficult to break down that social media and publicity, it was a difficult thing. That's why this is such a gem, because
Yeah, that was.
people don't write letters anymore. They type letters or something.
Handwritten.
Maybe if there's ever a big expansion or change, that would be a good time to try that campaign again, right? Anybody else? It was very thorough.
Good.
Okay, well, we look forward to you coming back with that strategic plan. I knew it was coming, I just didn't know when, so. And I think library staff and recreation, honestly, these are two very important things that touch a lot of our residents. So it's important to us, and I appreciate staff for putting this together for us. And there's no other business today, so we will adjourn. I have to go eat in there. I dropped my